All right, Steeler fans, it's time to go behind enemy lines. I've got Hogan from the Foxborough Frenzy joining me. He covers the New England Patriots for Fans First Sports Network. What's up, Hogan? How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I mean, we're enemies this week, but
Yeah.
otherwise, always good.
Yes, man, absolutely. I've enjoyed talking to you over the years, enjoyed your coverage. Let's talk about this Patriots Steelers matchup. It's a weird one. The Steelers are favored on the road, 1.5 points. I'm not sure where that line's coming from. And that's of this being recorded. Mind you, that can obviously change. But what's your gut feeling about this game? Let me start with that. Like, when you think about this Steelers team, defense is like a sieve right now. They've surrendered over 30 points the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the Patriots, you lose to the Raiders at home in week 1, but then you have a nice comeback win over the Dolphins in week 2. What's your gut telling you about this game?
Gut feeling right off the bat, I got to agree with what they're saying for the spread right now with the Steelers being favorites because the Steelers are kind of the more complete team with everything going on. I know that sounds a little bit crazy considering the special teams snafu last week against Seattle that you guys had and obviously the back and forth with the Jets. But the fact is the Patriots are still such a young and developing team at this point where I have no idea what product we're going to see week to week, where we saw the almost, I don't want to call it dumpster fire, but it essentially was a dumpster fire against the Raiders in week 1 at home. And then it was nice to see the battle against a Miami team in Miami where we've continuously stunk down there. But the fact is Miami was terrible. They got the doors blown off of them by the Colts in week 1. Everybody was sitting there going, Miami might be making a run at the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So this Patriots team, as much as I want to have confidence in them, and I even began the year saying they might, be an 8-9 win team, which I was hopeful for. I don't know. It's going to be a struggle this year. And I think your Steelers, obviously, there's definitely questions across the board with defense and Aaron Rodgers' performance and everything like that. But I think if there's a time for you guys to take it to the Patriots, you could definitely take advantage this week.
What is your hesitation with the Patriots from a schematic standpoint, from a roster standpoint? Mike Vrabel has gutted that roster from 2024 on. I mean, and so you got a lot of young players, a lot of new faces. And I know when the schedule came out, everyone was talking about Drake May, who I think is a good quarterback. I think he's going to have a long career in the NFL. But the one thing I kept on saying is, like, a new head coach, they've had a lot of roster turnover. It's going to take them some time. But what are your concerns about this Patriots team heading into week 3?
My biggest concern, which is interesting because I'd love to talk about the offense with McDaniels and everything like that, and I know Drake May's got his flowers that everybody continues to give him, but it's really the defense that's concerning me the most right now, where if you look at what the Patriots spent in the offseason, the majority of the money was dished out in defensive spending with Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Carlton Davis. I mean, those were big names that the Patriots spent money on. And the fact is they let up, a bunch of points to the Raiders. Miami absolutely shredded them last week. And I know the biggest thing right now is Christian Gonzalez's health, where he has not been active the last 2 weeks. He's, as of right now, this recording, he's questionable going into the game against the Steelers. If he comes back, that's a huge game changer. But at the same time, with a head coach of Vrabel's, capabilities, where he's a defensive guy, and then the fact that he did what he did with Tennessee, where he essentially shut teams down a lot when he was with Tennessee, I was expecting a lot more from this defense at this point. And the big thing that I'm curious about going forward is obviously the defensive coordinator position with, I believe it's Tyrell Williams. He's taken an extended leave actually at this point for, I believe they said health reasons during the broadcast. And they have the inside linebackers coach calling the defense, which it showed its ugly head in the game against Miami, where you saw a lot of times Tua, who is having arguably his worst year as a pro, shredded the defense when there was not a lot of guys out or, missing assignments and stuff. So this defense really needs to step up if they're going to be in games going forward.
Well, where in the defense is the weakness? You mentioned Christian Gonzalez's injury. Obviously, that's a secondary player, but are there bigger issues, amongst the defense where if they're going to pinpoint, let's just say if you're the Steelers and you're trying to game plan for the Patriots defense, where are you attacking them?
The biggest thing that I can say if the Steelers want to have success right off the bat is pound the ball. The biggest thing that I look at this Patriots defense, the strength is really their defensive line, which is interesting that I say run the ball, because if you look at Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and these guys, they take advantage of going up the middle, but they're really a good pass rushing unit. So if the Steelers don't drop back 40, 50 times, they should have plenty of success running the ball, because if you look at the Patriots defense outside of their defensive line, the linebackers have been a huge disappointment so far. you're familiar with Robert Spillane. If
Yep.
you watch that Miami game, unfortunately, he missed about 4 or 5 tackles right off the bat that I could count where he didn't wrap up at all, and he was trying to chase guys down. It's like you appreciate the effort, but at the same time, if you're not performing, it's obviously it's massive on tape there. But on top of that, too, you mentioned the secondary. Without Christian Gonzalez, you look across the board, Carlton Davis has not performed to the contract they signed him to. And then on top of that, the safeties that the Patriots have, you're familiar. The Pittsburgh just snagged Jabril Peppers,
Yep.
who I was shocked the Patriots cut after training camp ended with no attempt to trade him, but that's a whole nother ball game. But right now, our starting safeties are Jalen Hawkins and Craig Woodson, who is a rookie. So it's not exactly the likes of Lawyer Malloy or Rodney Harrison roaming the backfield anymore. We don't have Devin McCourty back there. It's young, unproven guys, and they're being picked apart right now. So again, I say pound the rock and run the ball, but play action, you can take advantage going over the top, as you've seen the Raiders and the Miami do in the last 2 games against the Patriots.
That's going to be interesting. Let's go to the other side of the football. Drake May. We've talked about him. You said that he's been getting his flowers. There are some people out there, though, that are not sold on him as an NFL caliber quarterback. There's people out there that say, I'm not sure if he is that guy. What's your take on Drake May heading into year 2?
I think that whoever the naysayers are, it's a tough situation because you have to look at the class that was around Drake May, where he was drafted and the position that he was put in. And it's a lot of times, I think, football fans in general have to take a step back and look at where quarterbacks are drafted and, again, the teams they go to. Drake May went to a absolutely abysmal Patriots team last year. There was a reason they've only won 4 games in the last couple seasons going into this season. If you look at Jaden Daniels, the outlier, Bo Nix, those guys, they all won massive amounts of games their rookie year, where Drake May was just in a terrible position. His best receiver last year was Demario Douglas, who would arguably be a 3rd or 4th receiver on many, many other NFL teams. I think the big thing that you're going to see this year, on top of the fact that Josh McDaniels is back to hopefully kind of get a more cohesive offensive unit going that he's had in previous tenures with Brady and everything like that. But you have some playmakers around him where you're seeing Stephon Diggs start to get back into shape with everything from coming off the torn ACL last year. Kayshon Boutte is very quietly becoming I don't want to say stud yet because we have to wait and see, but he made an amazing catch in the Miami game. He's had a lot of good games last season for the Patriots. As long as Hunter Henry stays healthy, he's got playmakers around him. And the biggest thing that I need to continue seeing on the offensive side of things is that offensive line has to stay healthy and cohesive, because everybody can sit there and say, you look at his numbers last year with Drake May, but if anybody tried to play quarterback behind the offensive line the Patriots put on the field last year, you were not having success. I don't care if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, whoever you are, they were not going to win games last year.
So Drake May, he was sacked in the last week's game. He was sacked 3 times, and he was sacked 4 times. Is the offensive line in terms of pass protection an issue right now, or is that the weakness, I guess I should say, of the offense?
I guess you can arguably say that. I mean, the biggest thing is if you look at the comparison from this year to last year, I mean, that was a big thing that I was going off of. There's a reason why Brissett had to play as much as he did last year, and obviously there were injury scares last year with Drake May getting knocked out of a couple games. So the fact that we have a backup in Josh Dobbs now is not exactly the greatest thing in the world. We don't want to see him playing at all. But the big thing that I'm hoping for with this offensive line unit is they continue to progress, and that's the big thing for this year. That if I got to be honest with you, Jeff, it's a lot of things last year ended up regressing as the season went on, and that I think led to the firing of Gerard Mayo and the way that everything turned out. This team did not get better as the season went on, and I'm hopeful that this year we see progression, whether it leads to a winning season, playoffs, whatever. Realistically, as a true Patriots fan, all of that is out the window for me. I want to see this team get better and better and finish the year on a higher note and try and take care of business as opposed to what they've done the last few seasons.
Well, the Steelers defense has been struggling to stop the run. If you go back to the wildcard game last year, they gave up 299 to Baltimore. Week 1, they give up 182 to the Jets. Last week, they give up over 100 to Kenneth Walker by himself. I think 117 total. And the Patriots are coming off a game where they rushed for 122 yards. What's the running game looking like for the New England Patriots?
That's a good question, because honestly, it could be the Ramondre Stevenson show, it could be the Travion Henderson show, it could be the Antonio Gibson show. You don't know who's going to get the ball. It's kind of that old flashback to, again, like I keep mentioning, Josh McDaniels' previous tenure, where there was no true running back for the Patriots. It was the triple-headed monster of LeGarrette Blount, James White, Rex Burkhead. You didn't know what back you were going to see coming out of the backfield. As of right now, it seems that Stevenson is the true starter, and he arguably, I would say, had one of his better games in his career last week against Miami, where he not only did he catch the ball for a massive amount of yards, I think he had like 88 receiving yards, which is, I think, a career high for him, but he ran the ball extremely well too. My thing is, I've been harping on the Patriots so hard to get Henderson more involved in both the running and the passing game, because Ohio State, we saw the highlights. We saw the first play he touched the football in the preseason, a 100-yard kickoff return to the house. This kid is absolutely special, and I think a lot of people thought that going into fantasy and everything because he went high in a lot of drafts. But if they can find a way to get the ball in his hands to have him make plays, good things are going to happen. But at the end of the day, Josh McDaniels is always that. Love to throw the screenplays in there, love to try and run and do what he can. So it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize these guys going forward.
All right, so Drake May, I'm looking at the stat line because I have not watched any Patriots games. I'm not going to lie to you. He rushed the ball 10 times last week against Miami. Are they running a lot of quarterback read option with him? Like, he had 31 yards rushing on 10 carries. I'm just curious. Are they using him a lot in the running game?
No, definitely not. I mean, it's you would think, obviously not watching Patriot games, that maybe that's the case there, but definitely not where I know McDaniels had to change some play calling back in the Cam Newton year that we had him, where they did a lot of that. But honestly, Drake May is the type of quarterback that he looks to pass first, and when things break down, where if guys get covered up or if he's forced out of the pocket or whatever, he has that athletic ability to take off and run. And we saw a lot of that last year, where it was more so he didn't want to take off and run. He was trying to throw the ball, and sometimes that led to mistakes with interceptions and whatnot. But more so, it's he's reading the field, doing what he can, and taking off. And he's got the athletic ability to take off and run and makes things happen. I mean, he scored a couple touchdowns already on the ground, which is great to see. As long as he stays upright and healthy, that's a big thing we got to watch out for.
That's probably good news to Steeler fans, because if you get a mobile quarterback, that doesn't normally spell success for the black and gold. And hey, they play Lamar Jackson twice a year, but what do we know? Anyways, when you think about this game and how it plays out, I'm not asking for a score prediction. It's way too early in the week for that. But if you're just thinking about home game, you got Vrabel, new coach, all this stuff that we've seen the first 2 weeks. Steelers kind of reeling, some saying against the ropes at a turning point with a lot of injuries. How do you think this game's going to play out?
Honestly, I could see this being a high-scoring affair. I think that's a big thing, is if TJ Watt gets his way against Will Campbell or whoever else he's going against on the offensive line, and he gets a Drake May, that's a completely different story. But I think the thing is Aaron Rodgers has always kind of had success against the Patriots. Take away a couple of the Jets years that he had there, but he's always sliced and diced these guys. And the thing is, like I said, if Christian Gonzalez is not good to go and able to cover DK Metcalf, you're going to see some guys for the Steelers put up some big numbers against some no-name secondary guys the Patriots have. But on the flip side of things, too, like I said, if the Patriots can take advantage of some defensive miscues from Pittsburgh right now, I think, like I said, if Drake May can get the ball to Diggs, get it to Henderson, and continue to have success with Booty and Hunter Henry, it might be a shootout, which is crazy to say, because you think of Patriots, Steelers, you think defensive stalwarts of the past, where there's, it could be 10-3. I'm sitting here going, it's probably going to be 40-30 or something like that. Crazy. It would just be exciting to see what would happen.
Are you thinking over 44.5?
Honestly, I could see that happen. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened. But you talk about two organizations that are slowly evolving and morphing into something that they weren't in the early 2000s for sure. But, Hogan, I want to give you an opportunity to plug what you're doing for Fans First Sports Network, social media handles, anything else you want to do. Go ahead and do that now.
Absolutely. If you guys want to check out more Patriots information, obviously I'm over at Foxborough Frenzy with Fans First Sports Network. On top of that, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials. Usually it's at nhogan7171, something like that. You'll see me in my goofy Patriots hat hanging out with Teddy Bruschi. I got the picture of my shoulder over here for that. But yeah, I love to talk football, anything. And you can also find me Monday mornings, where we do the Fans First football show. I'm usually on there chatting it up with Brian, where he's picking on me for my Patriots stinking as usual.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the game, and we'll be in touch. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, bud.